The night I met the devil face to face was Halloween 1972. I was 22. I had planned to go out to the bar to see the costumes. Being late getting off from my second job, I didn't have time to put on my costume. A little bummed but still wanting to go, I knew there was always a good costume contest, and it was a lot of fun. I picked up 3 friends and we headed downtown. Upon entering the bar, we found it packed, loud, and smoky. As we pushed our way through the crowd trying to find a place to sit, I was stopped in my tracks by a very large man. He was not looking at me at first, but when I was shoved into him, he turned around so slowly it was as if time slowed to a crawl and looked down at me. It was the most horrifying face I had ever seen. He looked at me with murder in his eyes. I have to stop here and just say that coming into a bar on Halloween night, I knew everyone was going to be dressed up in varying degrees of gross and scary. However, my first instinct when looking up into this man's face was fear, instant and petrifying. His eyes were dull, bloodshot, and yellow. He had a thin beard, but the hairs on his chin were longer. I don't know how else to describe it. It was also unkempt, as if he hadn't showered in a decade. My heart started pounding so hard I thought I was going to pass out. Clad in nothing but a coat of some kind, he had hair on his chest, which I know because my cheek brushed against it when the crowd pushed me into him. He smelled as if he had just lit a match. His skin was a bluish-gray color, and his body looked like it could bench press a building. His hair was black, stiff, and oily. Yes, he had horns, small but visible. His teeth were big and yellow, his lips thin and evil-looking with an evil half-smile. Tearing my eyes away from his horrifying face and looking down as I backed away, I saw his feet, or rather, where his feet should have been. They were cloven hooves and his legs oddly bent. The amount of effort this man put into his costume was amazing. However, looking back on it now, I am leaning towards the idea that it wasn't a costume, given it was the early 70s and they didn't have the creativity or means to make costumes as they do nowadays. By this time, the crowd had cleared a little, and my friends calling me finally registered. Turning around, I saw they were sitting at a table, looking at me with confusion. As I started moving away from him, I could see the very large man stood above the crowd. As I walked toward the table, I looked back, and he was gone, no sign of him anywhere. How could that giant of a man just disappear? Shaken, I tried to convince myself he was indeed a man, and that he would win the contest for sure because that was the best and scariest costume I had ever seen. I told my friends about him, and why I was just standing there. They said it was just me standing, and everyone else was moving. I looked at them in disbelief. How could they not have seen him? This man was easily 7 feet tall. They were right there with me. He never showed up for the contest. He never showed up anywhere. Uncomfortable and shaken up, I stayed the rest of the night but kept watching for him, yet he never showed. A girl in a Wonder Woman costume won, that night. I watched the door to see him leave, but nothing. I was really freaked out that nobody else saw him. We decided to leave and headed to the parking lot. As we started to get into my car, I looked across the lit parking lot, and there he was staring at me. I could feel the blood drain from my face. Turning to get my friend's attention, I said, "That man I asked about is across the street." As one, we all looked, but no one was there. He was gone. I want to add that I do not drink and had ice water the whole night. About a month later, cleaning snow off my car after starting it to warm up, I happened to glance up, and he was standing across the street in broad daylight, staring at me. I froze and just stared. He looked exactly the same as he did on Halloween night, and didn't seem to be affected by the cold at all. I hurried up, got in my car, and when I looked up, he was gone. I put my car in drive and left as fast as I could. I have not seen him since. It's been 50 years, but I will never forget that horrible face. I still see it sometimes in my dreams. No, I am not saying he was actually the devil. I don't know who or what he was. All I know is that he didn't look human, and the way my first instinct was to be very, very afraid makes me think otherwise. Yes, this story is 100% true. I know what I saw. I know what I experienced. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please like and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you have any true scary stories that you would like to send me, my email is in my bio. Be kind, stay spooky.